Okay, welcome. This session is going to help us with our email box to keep it uncluttered, to kind of manage it in ways that keeps everything in kind of a organized fashion. So first off, I'm going to talk about the Gmail filters, because all of our emails don't need to arrive in our inbox. Some can actually go directly to a label, what we could call a label, and that's what you see over here in this left panel. So just as an example, I'm just going to click on one of these emails, and once the email is open, you can go up to these three dots here and click and come down to filter messages like this. You'll notice that automatically that puts the information that it's all the messages that come from this email address. So once I have criteria here, then I will have the option to create a filter. You'll see that I can click on this and you can choose from many different things here. So do I want it to skip the inbox and archive it? Just know that too, that archive is not delete. You can always get it back once it's archived. So yes, I'm going to skip the inbox on this one. I'm going to not mark it as read or star it, but I do want to apply a label to this. This is an email that I'm actually going to have to respond to. So I'm going to name this, give it a name of waiting for a response. You can give it any name you want to here, but this is something that's going to help me to remember that I need to check this one because it is waiting on a response from me. Let's see, waiting for a response. All right. And as you can see, it's not really limited to, you don't want to make it too long because it's going to, take up a lot of space over here, but all of that. So you'll see that you have other options as you come through here. You can forward it, you can have it deleted after it's read, never send it to spam. Never send it to spam would be something like if you had a really important person that you wanted to make sure that their emails were not going to spam, then you would definitely want to just check that box. This is not something I feel like that's going to go to spam. It's something that comes to my email every day, so I'm not going to worry about it. Send a template. That's part of the top 6 I'm going to be talking about today, so I'll come back to that later. We can mark it as always mark it as important. I do want this to be marked as important because I do need to respond to this. And I can choose a category. Now the categories, this is something that's set up automatically through Google Gmail. This is something you cannot delete or change, but I do not want to put it in one of those categories, so that's not important. So, and also apply to matching conversations. I'm thinking I'm going to add that now. The good thing about that is once you create a filter, you can always go back and make the changes that you want to make. So I think we're good with this. We're going to go ahead and create it. So you can see as you come over here that this label has been made. Now you want to kind of make some of these stand out, so you might want to change the color of this. So you click on the 3 dots beside that, and right here you can make the label a different color. So since it's waiting for a response, it's a pretty important one, but it's not my most urgent. So I might make it a lighter red, something like that. And I'll show you an example of another way that you might want to filter out your emails. If you don't have one in your email box right now, but you know of someone that you definitely want to make sure that you're receiving all of them and that they're urgent and they're important, you can always do the same filtering from up here, and then you can just add the email address here. And then go on and do your create filter. So here, this would be one that I'm going to actually need to keep it in my inbox. I don't want to mark it as read. Excuse me, I'm going to have to turn this off. Okay, sorry about that. And I want to apply a label to this. I'm going to choose a new label, and I'm going to call this urgent. I want this to show up, and you're going to see this. The label's going to show up in a different place, and I'm going to show you that as soon as we get done. This is one that I would never send to spam, even if I thought it was going to. Choose a template, and we're going to come back to that. We don't need to categorize it, and All right, I think we are good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and create this filter. And I don't have any emails from the email address I put in there, so you won't be able to see the label I put on it. But what I was talking about here is like the label would show up right here, just like Lorianne Wessel, the email here. So the label shows up here, just like the forums here, this forum email. This label is not, it shouldn't be considered forum. So see here, it's another example where you might want to go and change and edit a label. So I can go over here to forums, which forums is one of the set up ones, and I can change that label for her. I can change it by undoing it, and it's going to go into the inbox, so we're going to do that. So one thing I was going to show you about changing and editing labels that you've created, you can go into the gear icon, see all settings, go to filters and blocked addresses, and here you can go and edit and delete any filter that you've created. So if you have one that you don't want anymore, or one that you just want to make some changes to, you can choose to edit or delete it from here. So that's a good little start with just some ideas about keeping this from being cluttered. So that's number 6, and I talked about we're going to do 6 different ones, and now we're going to move on to number 5. And number 5 is inbox view type. So the inbox view type, we're back to the gear icon. You can see here that you have, if you scroll down, you have inbox type right here. You can choose to stick with the default. You can go to important first. Those would be the ones that you, as you can see here, all the ones that you have applied, and you just apply it by clicking on it like that. And so you've applied that that point there to make sure that that's an important email. You can put unread first. One thing about unread first is you wouldn't want to keep it in unread first, because a lot of times the ones that are unread in this top area here are ones that you have going to labels over here that you definitely may not even wanted to pay attention to. So say, for example, here on my Twitter one, it's not one I even pay attention to it. That might be one I want to edit and delete, actually. But so the unread one first, you may not want to keep it there. You may want to visit it, and keep it cleaned up, but you definitely would not necessarily want to keep it on that. You can choose to go to your starred first. As you can see, I don't have any starred messages right here. If I did, they would be up here at the top. You can do a priority inbox, and you can actually customize that by clicking on the customize box, and in here it gives you options to be able to customize. But then if we want to go back to the multiple inboxes, is something I definitely want to do more research about. Because you can see with the customize on the multiple inboxes here, you actually get to customize how you want your inbox to look, by how you want the first ones to come in, the second ones to come in, and they will stay in that order until you make those changes. The nice thing about it too is there's always an option to learn more about how to do this. And you click on this learn more icon over here, this link, and it goes into detail how you might want to make that more personalized. So, you can search criteria, you can come down and see all the different ways that you would be helpful to set that up. So I do look to be using that in the near future. It's one of my goals to get that done, because I really would like to have my inbox set up that way. All right, so back to, and here we go. I need to go, before I finish this out, I need to go back to my default. And you can see you can customize your default as well. So all right, so we're back to that. We'll close this box out. And number 4 is to schedule an email to send for later. This is pretty helpful to, if you would like to email it, like you got it on your mind right now, what you want to do, and you want it to be sent out the next day or so. for an example, to myself, and maybe I would want to send to the 6th grade center staff. It's something I want to make sure that I send out, but I don't want to send it out today. It's something that's more important for the next day. So I would compose the email, and then I would be able to schedule my send. So you have these options here to schedule it tomorrow morning at 8, 1, or tomorrow, Monday morning, the following week, or however that you would be landing. But you actually can change these defaults in Google Keep. So if you want to see how to do that, you can always change these defaults. But if you don't want to mess with that, you can always go straight to your pick date and time and schedule that email for, say tomorrow morning at 7:30. So it would, you can change it to however you want to, and then you can click schedule send, and it would send at that time the next morning. The nice thing about scheduled emails, if you have decided to set up a scheduled email, you're going to see over here in the side, you'll see the option, where you see snooze, start, and inbox and all that. You're going to see an option for scheduled, and if you decide later that day that, I'll go ahead and send it now, you can click on it and edit it and, go back and send it right then and there. So even though you've scheduled it, you can always change your mind and come back and schedule it and unschedule it and go ahead and send it at that moment. So there's that. And then number 3 is send and archive. If you want to send something and, if you got a reply that you want to go to an email, or you want to send it and reply, as you can see, you're going to compose an email here. You'll see that you only have the one send box right here. You can send something and it automatically archives it, so you don't have a full sent box. Like if your sent box is full, like mine is right now, you can actually send it, the email, and then send it to your archive. All right, so you can find your archives too, also in where it says all mail, and that's how you would actually pull out. Let me move me again. That's how you would actually move out your if you've. Here's the all mail. You would go to all mail. Sorry about that, guys. You can go to all mail and unarchive anything that you have decided to archive. So that way you're not, keeping all these emails in your inbox, but you still can go back and find something that's important to you by archiving it. So say you want to go ahead and reply to something and you want to send it and then go ahead and let it go to archive. The way that you would do that is you want to go to click your gear icon, click on see all settings. Let's see, you go to the general tab, so you're on the general tab here, and right here, send and archive. So you can show the send and archive button is what you want to choose on this option here. So now when we go back, oops, got to make sure we remember, here's another thing, I'm glad I made this mistake right now. You want to always go to the bottom and save your changes when you make changes here. All right, so then you go to your compose box and you can now see, well, you should, maybe I need to refresh. Let's try to refresh this here. Sometimes whenever you make changes like that, you want to make sure that you're refreshing the, okay, well, maybe it's something I have to send. So let's say, we're going to reply. There it is. So you have to reply to the email, send and archive. That makes a whole lot of sense here. All right, so the send and archive button is going to be the button that is blue here. So when I reply to this message, I'm going to reply to it. It's going to send it to her, and it's going to send it to my archive over here in the all mail where I showed it to you before. Now if I want to send it, just send it without archiving it, then I still have that option. I can send it under this button, the white button. So you just need to remember that the blue button now becomes send and archive, and the white button is just the normal send. So that's a fun little option.